Hello and welcome to Whale News. This month, Whale and Dolphin Conservation, also known as WDC, joined forces with various animal groups, MPs, and celebrities, including Joanne Lumley, as of recently recording this, in the UK. And they were staging a parliamentary event to push for implementation of an existing law known as the Low Welfare Act. Um, the implementation of this law has been delayed for 2 years now. Now, what this act does is it prohibits the sale of tickets abroad by companies, travel companies, to places which house captive whales and dolphins, to places with elephant riding and big cat cub petting, to name a few. You can read more on this on the WDC website. I will link in the description a link to the article. It's been 33 years since the last captive whale or dolphin in the UK. But the work for animal welfare should not be stopping here when there are captive whales and dolphins elsewhere in the world. Just because the UK doesn't have any more, it doesn't mean that they should encourage people to go and see them elsewhere. So, implementation of this law will send a message in the only language that these industries will understand, and that is the loss of revenue. A study this month by Kay et al. Has shed some light on the physiological costs for female orcas that have multiple calves. They looked at the body condition of northern resident females, found found that the body condition was worse in females who had had calves. This is also impacted by any of the living calves that were males. So males will typically stay with their mothers like their entire life. So it's an ongoing energy cost. They found that after birth, a female orca's body condition would drop after being really high before birth, and it would take roughly 3 years to rebound to a good condition. This means that orca mothers are more generally vulnerable. But what this also enforces how important ample prey availability is, because prey has a significant impact on body condition. So the study was done on the northern residents, but there is absolutely nothing to suggest that this doesn't also affect the southern residents. They're the same ecotype, they live in very similar environments, they eat the same prey. It's very likely that this is the case for southern residents as well. The paper itself is very educational, and honestly, it was really easy to read. So if you're interested in learning about energy ecology within orcas, I definitely recommend this. You don't even have to be a scientist to be able to read and understand this. So I'll put that link in the description. So NOAA in the United States has announced proposed speed restriction changes in areas with critically endangered North Atlantic right whales. They're proposing the removal of speed limits in favor of more technology-based collision avoidance systems. They intend to try and balance economy with whale safety. Now, while maybe this is a good idea to have technology assisting, the speed limits are still important because sometimes the technology can't solve everything, and the speed limits are also there to reduce noise pollution. And cetaceans are particularly sensitive to noise. Up to the Salish Sea, and we just talked about how noise can be impactful against cetaceans over in the Atlantic. Now, in the Pacific, there's actually a lot of efforts going towards reducing the noise pollution, reducing increasing the distance to orcas, reducing vessel speed, um, and that is outlined this month by the fact that Echo has begun a seasonal trial period based on the orca presence for the whole month of March, after the detection of southern resident killer whales in the area. Now, Echo is a program consisting of measures adhered to by commercial shipping companies on a voluntary basis. The important thing is voluntary. So this is really good from those companies. A big W, and this will limit the physical impact risk on whales, as well as the acoustic impact as well. And so this is going into force in Canada. In 2025, they had a reported 85% participation rate. Now, staying on the Canadian side of the Salish Sea, the Canadian Department of Oceans and Fisheries are proposing distance changes for vessels to southern resident killer whales. This would increase the regulatory distance from 400 meters to 1,000 meters. Currently, Canadian regulations are less strict than in the US. The Salish Sea, where the southern resident killer whales live, is split. It's split in two between the US side and the Canadian side. The border sits literally in the middle of the Salish Sea. So the US regulations are currently 1,000 yards. Now, changing this distance will reduce boat strike chances, as we mentioned in the previous story, and also reduce acoustic stress on the orcas who rely on sound to hunt. The ecotourism industry as a whole are extremely supportive of this change as well. So I want to give a big thumbs up to them as well. British Divers Marine Life Rescue in the UK are looking for more volunteers following an increase of live cetacean strandings from around the UK in the last few years. BDMLR are made up of a network of trained volunteers who are called out whenever cetaceans wash up in their local area, as well as being called out to any other marine life that is in trouble. Quite a lot of these end up being seals. Now, while a lot of the strandings are in Cornwall, BDMLR are looking for volunteers up and down the country as a whole, particularly in areas with fewer volunteers, because their job is harder when they've got fewer volunteers that can go out on call. Now, most of the strandings are in Cornwall, but there are other strandings elsewhere in the country. So this is why it's important to have people stationed everywhere. Now, I actually myself was fortunate enough to do a marine mammal medic course back when I was a student at university. The course started with a few hours in a classroom where we learn a lot about like how much you don't want a seal to bite you mostly. But then we had a few hours with practical practice dummies. Like we had a dummy of a seal, and we also had a 2-ton dummy of a simulated pilot whale. That had a really, really wide smile. So if you do find a whale or dolphin stranded in the UK, and you are not one of the volunteers of British Dives Marine Life Rescue, do not approach it and instead call BDMLR. And until they arrive, please ask others to also stay away from the cetacean until they get there. The reason for this is that by doing the wrong thing, you could injure the dolphin or even injure yourself as well. So it's best to stay away, call the experts, wait for the experts to arrive. They will know what to do and they will be equipped to deal with the stranding. So that was whale news. Thank you everyone for watching. We do have another story, but I'm not going to mention it here. I'm just going to very briefly mention that the Salish Sea have had some brand new visitors in terms of orcas. But we'll cover that in Orca Watch for April. So thank you everyone for watching, and have a good rest of your day. Elephant riding and big cat, big cat, big cat cub petting. They're proposing the removal of speed limits in favor of a more